here, we've got Grim Batal, like we mentioned. Grim Batal is going to have both a level up dungeon and it's going to have a raid. So we're going to cover both angles with Grim Batal. That's a place we really wanted to tell a lot of stories, so we figured we should do both. Skywall is also both a raid and a dungeon. And then last but not least, we are doing a couple new heroics. So these are going to be level 85 heroic dungeons that you'll be able to do, Dead Mines and Shadowfang Keep. And we'll be going back in here. Now they're going to use the art that's existing now, but we're going to do new fights, new creatures, new abilities, and it's basically going to be right where you expect a heroic level 85 dungeon to be.
Van Cleavier than ever before.
If you want more information on Dungeons and Raids, we're going to be doing a panel tomorrow. I think it's in this hall, the Dungeon and Raid panel, and we'll have a ton of info on these dungeons and a lot more. So now here's a couple, we grabbed just a few concept shots of some of the dungeons for you to check out. This is the Abyssal Maw. Here's a shot of a Sulfuring Keep in the Firelands. This is a shot of the inside of the Halls of Origination inside of Old Doom. And these are a couple shots of Grim Batal. And last, we're going to finish up with a little preview of the PvP that we're planning for Cataclysm, and Tom's going to tell you about that.
All right, so of course, to go along with all this new content, we've got a lot of new PvP content for everybody too. We have the Tol Barad PvP zone. So Tol Barad, it's an island off the coast of the Eastern Kingdoms. It's been referenced from time to time in Warcraft lore. What we know is that there's a prison here, and this prison sits on this island, and both the Horde and Alliance want control over it. So there's quite a bit to discover here. The kind of idea here is that it is a melding of the Wintergrasp concept with the Isle of Kel'Danas concept. So the idea being that while you're there during the off-battle times, it behaves kind of like an Isle of Kel'Danas, where it's a daily quest hub for all kinds of daily quests, probably the main daily quest hub for the expansion. And then when the battle comes time to activate, kind of like Wintergrasp, then players are going to fight for control. And that control will give players access to the actual Tol Barad prison, one of the instance wings within there. It will also open up new kind of like bonus daily quests for that side. Extra profitable daily quests. We also have the Battle for Gilneas Battleground, and the current plan is actually to have 3 battlegrounds with the expansion. So one of those things that we want to do in terms of adding more endgame content than we've had before is to add more battlegrounds than we've ever added in the past. So Battle for Gilneas is one of those. The idea being that players are going to be able to fight through the city and the streets of Gilneas City and take control of the different districts and fight it out. We also, of course, have some new arena maps. Numbers yet to be determined, but they will have some new ones. And finally, kind of the major gameplay feature for PvP as far as the expansion goes is the rated battlegrounds. So now for anybody out there that really enjoys doing battlegrounds but doesn't like the arena playstyle as much, you'll have the option to do the rated battlegrounds, and I'll talk more about these in the system panel. But you'll be able to do the rated battlegrounds to get your rating up and get the same access to the same types of gear that you can get through the arena system. And so that brings us to Q&A. Now, I don't know that we have much time for Q&A, but we do have a specific Q&A panel set aside for tomorrow morning. So any questions that you guys don't get to ask today or in any of the other panels where we kind of go over these features in more detail, make sure to hit us up in the Q&A panel tomorrow morning.
So I guess that's all the time we have. We will have an entire hour for Q&A tomorrow at 10 a.m. We will have a lot more information on the various panels that you'll find, the class items and professions later today, as well as Dungeons and Raids tomorrow, and the systems panel that you'll find is PvP. So just no time today, though, for this panel at least.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all.
You are watching BlizzCon live on DirecTV.
Welcome back to BlizzCon Live from Anaheim, California. I'm Jeff Keighley here with Kat Hunter, and we've got all the fans of Blizzard from around the world, over 100 countries watching us on DirecTV and on the internet, celebrating all that is Blizzard. And we are now here with a very special guest, a man who knows Blizzard pretty well, Paul Sams. Great to have you here, Paul.
Thanks. Great to be with you.
So how does BlizzCon feel to you this year? You've been to all of them. What's different about BlizzCon this year?
It's big.
It's big.
It's bigger than ever before. More things going on, more people, more halls. Any which way it can be bigger, it is.
Now, Mike mentioned in his opening speech that when they actually found San Remi was here at BlizzCon last year. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that meeting was like?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, we got a call from Sam and his folks. He wanted to bring his son and a couple of his friends to the show. Sam plays World of Warcraft, interestingly enough, and he plays it with his kids, or his son, and some of his son's friends, and so they wanted to come and experience it.
Yeah.
And typically what happens if someone like that is wanting to come to BlizzCon, we take the opportunity to meet and greet and to get to know those folks, because you just never know where your paths might cross again. And so when we were sitting backstage in the main stage last year, he and I were chatting, and I was asking him about his passion for World of Warcraft, and he was saying, oh my God, you know, I love the game, it's so incredible, the characters are so rich, and what have you. And we basically just started talking a little bit about the movie, because he said, I'd heard about the fact that you're doing it with Legendary.
Right.
And I said, yeah, you know, actually we're looking for a director. And he said, really? He goes, you know, I heard that you're talking to, and he listed off a couple of directors that were pretty big names, and he goes, yeah, he goes, sounds like you're in good hands. I said, well, wait a second. That's correct that we're talking,
Right.
but we haven't done anything yet. And I said, you know, I'd be interested to see whether you might be interested. We put together a list of our top directors that we were interested in working with, and you're in that top 5 group.
Yeah.
And he said, you're kidding me. And I said, no. And we just began that conversation. And he said, all right, well, let's get together and actually talk. And very soon thereafter, he said, you know, I want to do this. And we were ecstatic. So
Wow.
it was really cool. And it all happened here last year behind the main stage.
You
Wow.
never know. You
Exactly.
never know what's happening.
And you guys just announced it, I know, right before Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Now, Sam is off to do Spider-Man 4, I know, is his next
Yes.
picture that he's directing. So it's going to be a couple of years until we get to see this movie,
Well,
right?
there's going to be a window of time where Sam isn't available, as you can imagine, because he's going to be focused on Spidey 4. But we're already in the development process with him, and we're working with a screenwriter that we're not going to talk about quite yet. But I can tell you that if the screenwriter that we have working on this ends up really being able to nail it the way we think he is, people are going to be pretty excited. This is a guy that has done some of the most epic stuff around. So we're really geeked up about
right.
the possibilities.
That's exciting. So
What-
hopefully we'll hear more about the screenwriter then. I mean, casting and all that, I mean, is it a point where you have to get the script done before you start thinking about who's going to be in the
Yeah,
film?
I mean, our big goal is to have a screenplay put together, hopefully before Sam really gets deep into Spidey 4, and so that's something that we're working on extensively at this point. We've got some of our best creative talent internally on it, so like Chris Metzen and Rob Pardo are the two chief kind of creative visionaries that are within Blizzard that are working in collaboration with Sam and the screenwriter. So what I think is key about this is that you know that there's going to be a real Blizzard flavor to this. I mean, obviously, being that it's set in the Warcraft universe, but it's going to really have some attention from the key people that have helped create the universe and have created the lore and the characters and all the environments, together with the fact that our teams will also be influencing our guys to make sure the right mixes of all the right things are there.
We actually had a question on Twitter about the movie.
Yeah.
If you started looking at a composer from Randy Deluxe, was wondering if it's going to be Russell Brand hour, or is it going to be someone externally, or have you
composer,
made
you
that?
say?
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that point yet. I think that that's something that, you know, Sam will have a big opinion about, as you might imagine. And
Right.
so, you know, that's something that's going to come a little bit later. Right now, we're focused on really trying to make sure that there's, you know, an incredible amount of communication and understanding of what all the key creative folks are thinking.
Yeah.
And so Chris and Rob and Sam and the screenwriter are doing that. We want to make sure that's gelling really well. Then once we've got that figured out, we've got the screenplay in hand, then the other elements are going to start falling into place. So then you start thinking about casting, you start thinking about composers and who you're going to have doing all the other key elements of the building the picture.
Well, let me ask you about visual effects, too, because you guys do such amazing cinematics at Blizzard. Is there interest amongst your guys to actually sort of, you know, support the movie with some visual effects?
Well, I would certainly say that there's a lot of interest, right? I mean, when you look at the long conversation that this has been over the years,
Right.
Chris Metzen and I spent probably a period of 3, 4, 5 years going up, meeting with studio heads, meeting with different screenwriters, producers, you know, financiers, all these different folks, trying to find the right people. And so basically we're going through all of that and trying to make sure that every piece is in the right spot. So
Are you going to wait until you have a screenwriter in place before you decide exactly what part of the story you're going to tell of the lore?
Well, we have a vision of what we're hoping it to be.
Right.
We've gone through a lot of iterations of that, though, over the last number of years. And the good news is the screenwriter, Sam, and our guys, I think, have a pretty good idea of what they want the general framework to be. And so they're working on trying to fill in all the right spots and get it to really breathe. So, you know, we're in that process. It's a hard one, but I think with the people that we have involved, we're going to get it right.
Excellent. All right, well, let's go now to Twitter, because we're having people submit questions on Twitter this year on BlizzCon. And you can Twitter me at Jeff Keighley, also Kat at Kat Hunter, and also at the DTV with questions. Now, I asked people on Twitter for questions for you. One comes from Jeremy Lamont, and he says, Paul, what's the ratio of resources at Blizzard devoted to new development versus maintenance of World of Warcraft? Is there much overhead?
Well, we have multiple product development teams. So when you're talking about it purely from a development perspective, the World of Warcraft team has well over 100 people who are dedicated solely to working on the game, the expansions, the content updates, etc. There's a bunch of other people beyond that that are supporting that game. So there's guys in the cinematics team that are doing some of the cutscenes or doing the, the fully rendered out cinematics. We've got people that are in the sound department and, in our quality assurance department. There's all these people that support that. So it's a major focus for the company. At the same time, we've got multiple other development teams. We've got the StarCraft 2 development team. We've got the Diablo 3 development team. We've got a couple of other development teams that are doing some stuff that we'll be talking about at a later time. And so
there's only one unannounced game. Is there two now? Are there two unannounced games?
There's BattleNet, right?
That's true, right?
I guess there's BattleNet and then there's the unannounced. So, but those folks are all very, very busy doing what they're doing. We had the opportunity to see a little bit of what we're working on with StarCraft 2 here at the show and Diablo 3 with the new character class. So there's a lot going on. But when getting back to your question, we have a huge group of people that are in service as well. So we've got over 3,500 employees. 25-ish hundred or so are service folks, and then the rest is made up of developers and kind of headquarters staff of sorts. So the people that are doing all the marketing, the PR, and all that kind of stuff. So, but World of Warcraft, it's a major focus. I mean, there's no denying it. It's a big one, and it takes a lot of attention from around the company.
There was a lot of news this year for Blizzard regarding China and about changing things about how you operate in that country with WoW. What's going on right now?
Well, we were working with a company previously when we first launched World of Warcraft. That relationship with our contract came to an end in June, and we decided to move our World of Warcraft business over to another company called NetEase. NetEase is one of, if not the, local leader in China, and excellent company. We really gel with them because they're also a developer, so they have a lot of the same principles on how they run their business and how they want to interact with the customers, how they want to focus on the gamers to make sure that the gamers are always first and foremost in our company and their company's mind. So prior to us moving the World of Warcraft business over, we had decided to sign with them for StarCraft 2 and BattleNet. Well, as you probably heard about or you're going to hear about, we're going to be trying to bring forth all of our products onto BattleNet. And the same concept goes in China. If we had our products between two different companies, well, that would have our entire community separated. And so also by bringing World of Warcraft over to NetEase, where StarCraft and BattleNet will be, we're going to be able to bring all of the players in China together.